So the Ann and Arthur Berndt Award, this is a really special award. It was created back in 2013, and the network has awarded it annually since to honor two of our founders, Ann and Arthur Berndt. The award recognizes EAN members who have demonstrated vision, leadership, and commitment to a renewable energy future for Vermont. It's awarded to either individuals or organizations that have shown bold leadership in support of efforts to advance broad systemic change of Vermont's energy system. And you know, we actually have a number of folks who I believe are at the summit today who have been recipients in previous years, from Jennifer Berman. I know that Jim Sullivan has been participating in the summit, and last year's awardee, Johanna Miller from VNRC. To announce this year's recipient of the Ann and Arthur Berndt Award, I want to introduce Jim Merriam, who is a member of the EAN Board of Directors, who will be making the award.
Thanks, Jared. This year's award, for the very first time, is actually going to an organization versus an individual. And it's safe to say we didn't do that because we thought you needed to remember 2020 by something. I think we've covered that and checked that box. But instead, we're really trying to recognize the years of tireless work that this organization has done. This year's recipient had early involvement in the Energy Action Network. And for years, they have been, if not decades, been doing many of the things that we talked about in this year's summit. Their work has served as a critical bridge between the energy sector and the most vulnerable, impacted Vermonters, working to promote energy efficiency. And I think most importantly, their work has been to tackle many of the issues that keep Vermonters from even thinking about how they can save energy or money. While they have long been a leader in low-income weatherization, they have emerged as a leader in transportation as well, presenting a rural mobility pilot last year at the 2019 EAN Summit, and helping implement the new Mileage Smart program that helps income-eligible Vermonters access more efficient used vehicles. And even during the pandemic, they have not lost sight of the importance of addressing energy and climate impacts on the people they serve. And this year, they truly shown as a local leader with in the pandemic response by activating the Washington and Northern Orange Counties Regional Response Command Center, which was a collection of community organizations providing essential services to municipalities, organizations, and individuals in need. In recognition, if you haven't figured this out yet, of the incredible leadership and service in promoting energy equity, it's my pleasure to present the 2020 Ann and Arthur Berndt Award to Capstone Community Action. And I think normally we would have minutes of very well-deserved applause, but since we are virtual, I'm going to now introduce Sue Minter, the Executive Director of Capstone, and Paul Zabrieski, Director of Weatherization, Energy Smart of Vermont, to accept the award. Congratulations.
Well, thank you all so much. Thank you, Jim, and the entire EAN network. I have to tell you, this is thrilling. And I also just want to say it's special to me personally because I knew the beautiful spirit of Ann Berndt, particularly in her last year of life. And I adore Arthur, and I so honor what he has done to really advance the energy transformation in Vermont. And I am deeply inspired by and thrilled over EAN's work and the commitment that you've demonstrated to equity through all of this session as well as previously. But I really want to ask Paul Zabrieski to say a few words, because it's Paul who is really the driving force for energy transformation at Capstone, and especially as our Director of Energy Efficiency, Weatherization, and Climate Impact, is really the champion of climate justice for Capstone. Paul.
Well, thank you, and Jim, and to the network. I am moved. I've been inspired by the compassion and desire of the membership and participants in this program to bring everybody along. And I think that's really the piece that inspires me. I know that it's very hard to characterize the low-income community, but I think it can be characterized as a desire to live better, to be happy, and to recognize that we all want a better future, and a clean energy future is part of that. So the work of the network and the individual organizations and individuals that make up the network is critical to that. So thank you. Appreciate this honor.
Congrats.
Thank you for everyone typing your enthusiastic applause and congratulations into the chat. That really does make us feel all the love and support in the room for Sue and Paul's incredible work and their whole team at Capstone. We're so grateful and really happy to have you as part of our network. And thank you, Jim, for presenting. All right, Jared. I have to go and launch my our poll, but maybe I'll turn it over to you to start a little bit by framing the pitches, your thoughts at the end of the summit. I'll get the poll ready and pull up some slides with some guidance.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carolyn. So I'm going to share my screen briefly so you can all see the criteria, just to be reminded of the criteria for our...
Actually, Jared, I have a slide that has specifically that, so hold on and let me get it for you.
Great.
You can...
So at the end of the day yesterday, we were just looking for your kind of initial reaction to the pitches, wanted to get a sense of what really resonated with you. Now that you've had a time to really, dwell on those, think about them, deliberate with other network members in the workshops, we want to do a second round of polling and really remind you about the criteria that we put forward at the Summit Planning Committee, helped develop for selection of the pitches. And so now that you've heard those 10, there's going to be an opportunity to say, which ones does this network, this is not mutually exclusive. It's not one versus another. I think, all of these are complementary, and we want to see all of them move forward. But in terms of the ones that would receive some staff support from EAN, also the Energy Action Network Board of Directors, when they approved the budget I proposed this year, approved $50,000 total to go towards financial support of these action teams. That could include helping cover time spent working on it. There's probably research and other kind of development that needs to happen. If there's a chair or a co-chair of the effort to perhaps provide stipends for their time, we're still working on exactly how those funds will be used. But clearly a lot of these efforts to take the next step forward, some initial seed funding, if we choose, say, 5 action teams, that may be something like $10,000 each to help get these efforts moving forward. And then, of course, hopefully that would be matched and leveraged by other sources if there are larger efforts that would benefit from and require more funding than that. So as we go into this round of voting, the results of this will be a key part of the decision-making puzzle by the Energy Action Network Board of Directors. So we'll bring these results as well as those yesterday, some thoughts from the staff about to the board of directors, and they will then say, here's the ones that we want to formally recognize and provide with staff support and financial support. And then we can also have additional action teams as a network. They may not just get the same level of staff and financial support. So to go back to the criteria, just as a reminder, we're looking for pitches that promote energy equity, that provide significant reductions in fossil fuel use and greenhouse gas pollution, particularly focusing on the thermal and transportation sectors, create a stronger and more just Vermont economy, and encourage the growth in the number of clean energy jobs, help Vermonters become more energy secure and resilient, support an energy landscape that both benefits from and protects our natural resources and working lands. We're looking for committed leadership from multiple network member organizations. And, you know, one distinction is, as you heard these pitches, some of these pitches are kind of already in place or already have groups supporting them or plan to move forward regardless. So one of the additional criteria we'd encourage you to consider in this final round of voting is ones that would really benefit from the modest financial and staff support that our backbone organization can provide in terms of making an important impact on that pitch's ability to move forward when it may otherwise not have as great a prospects to do so without it. So those are the criteria. Carolyn, should I turn it to you is the poll open at this point?
Poll is open, so if you go back to your phone, tablet, or you can open another tab in your internet browser and go to slido.com. Our event code is EAN Summit 2020, and you'll see when you get there, you can toggle between the Q&A and there's a polls section. And if you head over to polls, you should see this poll now open and the ability to vote. It's up to 5 pitches you would like to see EAN provide staff and financial support to in the coming year. Looks like we've had about 12 people respond so far. So go ahead and get there, and we'll give a minute as these results come in.
And maybe as we're waiting for those results, I just need to go through a number of really important thank yous. So maybe I'll do that. And then when the voting results are ready, Carolyn can share those and do some other kind of closing out next steps. But I just want to, as we're doing this voting, thank all of you so much for attending in this brave new world of a virtual summit. The pitchers, the presenters, the panelists, I was just so impressed at how we could still feel the vitality and the diversity of our network by seeing everybody on screen, and just so heartened. Thank you again so much to Carolyn. I mean, this, as you can tell, was mostly successful because of her great vision and talent in terms of identifying this platform and then just providing such good, clear communication and unparalleled facilitation and organizational skills to make this go off so smoothly. I really want to thank Ian Hitchcock, who bravely from his cabin in Wyoming provided the tech support line on Zoom. I want to thank the whole summit planning committee, who met multiple times over the past number of months to really design this agenda and try to make sure that this was the best experience possible. Of course, our board of directors, as always. And I really also want to thank the funders that make all of this work possible for the network. We just heard of the Ann and Arthur Berndt Award. The Maverick Lloyd Foundation was really the founding funder and continues to be the core underlying support of EAN each year, in addition to incredibly devoted and generous funding support from the Garfield Foundation, from the High Meadows Fund, from the John Merck Fund, the Canada Family Trust, V-Light, the Sustainable Future Fund, and the Green New Fund, both donor-advised funds at the Vermont Community Foundation, and the Bondwood Foundation. So thank you so much to all of them for making this work and this really unique and powerful and inspiring collective impact network work happen. And I'm just, the last thing I'll say so that Carolyn can kind of smoothly do her last part is that I just have such an overwhelming feeling after yesterday and throughout today that because of the abundance of wisdom and will and generosity, that, you know, it just reiterates for me that together there is nothing that we cannot do in this brave little state. So let's get it done. This is very exciting.